Today you were invited to a tour of our downtown youth detention facility, also named the Youth and Families Support Center. Is that correct, Lee?
That is correct.
Yeah. And so you were invited here because there's a strong interest in touring the facility and also getting updates on what is the latest happenings as it relates to this facility. Many know that it's not being utilized yet, and there are brewing questions in regards to what the future plans are for the facility. So just to provide some context on where we're at now and a little bit of how we got here, of course, there was a point in time where the board, the Douglas County Board, approved the bonds and the project overall to build the Justice Center, which included both the courtrooms, space for Douglas County Attorney, defender, probation, but also the youth detention portion of the overall Justice Center. The capacity of the new facility here downtown is 64 beds. And so, one of the issues that has prevented us from transitioning to the new facility are really two main issues. One is the actual capacity of beds, and the other at this point is also financial. In regards to capacity of beds, we have seen post-pandemic that the numbers have gone up in regards to youth detention. These numbers, at least as of late, within the summer of 2024, have ranged anywhere between the 80s and the 90s in regards to youth being detained at any given moment. Now, we know that the pandemic has caused a lot of issues with mental health for both youth and adults. We know that the pandemic caused educational issues and delays. We've also seen during and post-pandemic an uptick in utilization of guns and higher level offenses by youth to an extent that has our current population around 1/3 of those currently detained in the youth detention center being charged on adult charges or felony level charges. So this has caused somewhat of a shift in our demographic, as if you go back 10 to 15 years, you would not have seen such a frequency in higher level gun charges, adult charges as often. So is this related to the pandemic? Is this related to mental health, educational issues? There is no perfect, easy answer. I'd say this is a community-wide issue that we have to address collectively as a community. This can't be something that solely the Board of County Commissioners solves. This can't be just the education system, judicial system, law enforcement, nonprofit providers. We all have to come together to think creatively and actually look deep into these issues that are going on in our community that are leading youth to get involved in such behaviors, that are leading them at times to be detained in our facility. So this is not going to be a solution that's fixed overnight, nor is it going to be fixed by simply one stakeholder in the overall justice system in juvenile justice. It's going to involve many stakeholders actually digging into these issues and trying to solve them collectively together. The other issue I mentioned that has prevented us from transitioning is the financial aspect of running this facility. Back in October of 2023, the Board of Commissioners did pass a resolution that was set to move us towards a two-facility model that would run the older, larger facility on 42nd and Woolworth, and also run this new facility downtown, which again has a capacity of 64. We were moving in that direction for multiple reasons. One is that it would put into utilization this new facility, which is, of course, a modernized, more therapeutic facility that had intention behind it to be, in fact, more therapeutic and have some positives in its aspect of being more modern. And on top of that, we wanted to also ensure that we had enough capacity to meet the need for youth detention at any given moment in the present time. So we would put to utilization this facility downtown but keep the larger facility open as well to ensure we have enough capacity, but also put the new facility to utilization and run two facilities for the foreseeable future while the numbers remained as they are in the 80s and the 90s. That was our last action as a board in October of last year. What has prevented us at this point from commencing that transition is trying to be cautious about our financial position as a county at this point. Running a second facility is anywhere between $4.5 to $7 million. $4.5 million if we only run it partially with one unit open with 4 wards, or closer to $7 million if you run all 4 wards and the full facility is at full capacity. So that is an estimate. That is a range that we're at this moment. Of course, there's different aspects that go into starting up a new facility with recruitment, training, getting a facility started. We actually run an educational school in our facility. We run medical unit, of course, supervision of the youth, recreational activities. There takes a lot to put the facility into use. And so if it was at full capacity, it would take approximately 152 staff to run this facility downtown if it was at full capacity. So with that range of cost, on top of running the current facility at 42nd and Woolworth, that would be an additional expense, again, somewhere roughly estimated between $4.5 and $7 million additional cost in youth detention on top of the current facility that is already running. So seeing that the legislature and the governor were involved in looking at tax reforms and tax levy reforms in the special session, we wanted to pause and get a good feel specifically for where are we going to be financially in the future as a county. We're looking at the zero caps that were recently passed in legislation during the special session that will go on counties and cities, how that will affect our finances overall, and then specifically as it relates to juvenile justice. So right now we're in the process of looking at that new legislation that was passed, processing those numbers, seeing what our financial position will be in the next fiscal year and moving forward. So that has, again, led us to take a moment to breathe and pause, recollect ourselves as a board, and then look at all the options that are on the table, and then options that maybe haven't been mentioned yet, having those difficult conversations about where can we build consensus to move forward as a county, and what would be best for our youth and families in Douglas County. In the meantime, we have very dedicated staff at the current facility on 42nd and Woolworth who are there every single day, providing programming, education, medical services, supervision, and quality care for our youth in that facility. It is large enough to meet the capacity of the moment, and that gives us the additional ability to have this moment and pause to see where we want to be moving forward with the new facility here downtown.